Arkansas farmers, this is for you. If you don't want to lose your daddies and your granddaddies and your granddaddy-daddies farms, then you better pressure your legislators to impeach Trump, because they're going to let your farms foreclose, and then Trump and J.D. Vance and their greedy corporate private equity buddies are going to swoop up your long-standing family farms for pennies on the dollar and sell them to the highest bidder, probably in a foreign country. Way to go, America. We can do this. We can do better. You can do better. But it takes Republicans to pressure the Republicans to save us. That's you too.
In Arkansas, rising living costs are fueling frustration among many Trump voters and others across the state. From groceries, rent, utility bills, housing costs, to everyday essentials, families say the pressure is growing. Listen closely as people in Arkansas share their personal stories behind this unfolding cost of living nightmare.
For the second year in a row, Arkansas is the #1 state in the country that people are moving into. People love our low taxes, our high quality of life, the fact that we've invested in things like public safety, education, access to health care. People are flocking away from California and New York. They don't want to be in blue states anymore. They want normal over crazy. They want order over chaos. We just like to remind them when they get here, don't bring the crazy left policies with you, and remember why you left the blue states in the first place.
Get gas with me in Trump's America.
Disrespectful, hurtful, abysmal, disgusting, lethal, crazy.
I got gas, lots of gas.
$63, almost 64. That hurts my feelings.
Y'all are not gonna believe this shit. Okay, so everybody is sitting here talking about gas prices, right? So, I live in Arkansas, about 35 minutes from Little Rock in this little podunk town called England, right? Tell me how, like, 2 days ago, at our little Conoco gas station, gas was like $2.86 a gallon, okay? And I'm sitting here talking to my wife about getting gas today. $3.59 a gallon, $50 worth of gas, barely over half a tank.
Today's Friday. On Monday, I filled up with gas, and it was $3.48 a gallon. And I was like, holy shit, that's expensive. I'm filling up with gas again here on Friday because I have had to do a lot of driving this week, and it is $3.63. I had 60 miles left to empty in my tank. I don't know how big my tank is per se, but I just got 14.29 gallons, and it was $52. Oh my God.
Diesel prices in Arkansas are spiking, hitting around $5 a gallon in some areas. And truck drivers say it's taking a real toll. Some drivers are filling up every day with costs topping $500 a tank. And since fuel is one of the biggest expenses in trucking, when prices go up, it can impact everything, from shipping to what you pay in stores. For now, drivers are hoping prices drop, but with global tensions rising, that remains uncertain.
You want to know what my favorite thing is having to pay taxes on something I've already paid taxes on. Paying personal property tax every single year, being considered middle class, and owing the state of Arkansas $10,000 because my husband worked out of state, but yet we don't even have the money to pay our bills. But yeah, Arkansas, I'll pay you $10,000.
Well, the data center saga continues. Today in Little Rock, about 50 people were protesting against a proposed data center planned to be built near the port of Little Rock. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has opened up public comment until May 1st, but these people took it a step further, waving signs, cheering, taking out the megaphone, protesting against the data center. One woman says she's not against AI, she just wants transparency from the companies, and she wants to see them built with renewable energy and reusable water. We were at the protest today from 4 to 6 o'clock, and I would say it dwindled down around 5:30. We'll keep you guys updated.
So they're building an AI data center in Little Rock, which is amazing because I've always wondered what an AI data center would look like with a single mother of two walking around and perpetually smoking a Camel Crush. This is a $6 billion project that is slated to only create about 500 jobs, which after construction will probably lower to about 100 to 200. And to put in perspective just how much electricity this is going to use, which is going to affect how much we all pay for it, it is going to need the same amount of electricity that Palo Alto uses just for the building itself. That is separate from the amount of power that we use collectively as a city. And at the most, it is going to need the amount of power used to keep San Francisco lit. About a gigawatt of energy, a metric that is so comical they used it in Back to the Future. In plutonium core, the lightning bolt, that is how much energy this thing is going to need to use to keep itself afloat. It is going to make electricity unaffordable. It is going to pollute our water. And when the AI bubble pops, we're going to have to bail them out and our prices will never come down. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, the prices might go up. This is going to affect wildlife. People live in Arkansas. You love to fish. You love to hunt. This is going to affect all of that. It is going to destroy ecosystems. Look at neighboring cities where these things have been built. The smog in the air is so bad. The water has become polluted. It is an environmental nuke on the natural state, and we should not allow it to happen. We have issues with poverty. We have issues with homelessness that we refuse to address. And the existence of this building only serves the extremely wealthy living in our state.
Arkansas utility rates are about to go way up, and it's to pay for infrastructure projects in Texas? What? Let me tell you how we got here, okay? The Southwestern Electric Power Company, we call it SWEPCO, is requesting a rate increase to collect $80 million for a $136 million project. That's the total cost of the project. So that represents an average 27% increase on most utility bills. That's the kicker. They're asking us in Arkansas to pay for 60% of this project. It's being built in Texas. Arkansas residents only make up 23% of their customer base. This is their service area. Do you really think Arkansans benefit from this the most? Why are we paying for 60%? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because our state lawmakers sold us out to lobbyists for SWEPCO and Entergy and utility companies like this.
Y'all, on another note, this government and these people, and I don't know what's going on, like, everybody's complaining about the same thing. The utility bills have gone up. Even, and you'll notice, like, if you have a certain amount of people in your household, like, you know, your bill is usually the same every month. Well, everybody is actually seeing that it is a problem. It is a real big problem. And what can we do as people what can we as people do? All we can do is pay our bill, because if we don't pay it, we ain't gonna have no lights. There's got to be something we can do.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sue from Arkansas, and Arkansas Senate has done it again. They just passed Senate Bill 307. Child, the trend in Arkansas is, if you're a working class, they want to pass it. I mean, damn, can we get a break? I mean, we already got to deal with some utilities and the high-ass gas bill. I mean, they really got folks choosing between paying the gas bill and putting food on the table. And now we got to deal with the power companies with our light bills. I mean, damn. Y'all, let's break this bill down. So first off, they want to make us pay for their project. They want to build new power plants, but instead of using their own money, they want to tax our light bill. That don't even make sense. That sounds stupid. Like, how they help the working class? Like, we already dealing with low wages, high ass rent, and food dinner unaffordable here, and now we got to do a high ass light bill too? Child. Anyway, the thing though, the Public Service Commission decided to not oversee this. So Senate Bill 307 gives power companies the free range to do whatever they want to do with no oversight. They want to call it work expansion or energy expansion, but child, this is like a money grab, and that's it.
The current rise in prices is directly related to the fact that the pedo in chief is killing people in the Middle East. You cannot make it any other way.
Been out here working on the pool today, man. It's all drained and everything. Kind of got it all cleaned out and stuff because the liner been leaking. And so over the winter time, the level like went way down and everything. And I was like, well, we might as well just drain it. You know, we usually don't do that because it's a lot of money to fill the swimming pool up, you know, especially here in Fort Smith, Arkansas, where your water bill is through the freaking roof. And that's what this video is about. Where do you live? And is your water bill outrageous like it is right here in Fort Smith, Arkansas? I'm sitting here wondering, like, how much is it going to cost to fill this pool up? Because that's like 15,000 gallons, and that's a lot of damn water.
The current gas price is $3.69. And I live in Arkansas. Yep. I live in Arkansas. I drive a small car that usually takes about $20 to $25 to fill up. And today I filled my car up with $30. And it still was not enough. So I think collectively, what people should stop doing is asking Gen Z, when are we going to have kids? When are we going to get married? Because, sweetheart, I barely got the nickel and dime to put in my gas tank. I'm not finna sit here and try to scrap and scrape trying to buy some Similac or formula or some Pampers for a child I cannot afford. I am trying to finish my education. I'm trying to get a career. I am trying to build a life for myself. Why would I bring another person into this world?
I got a question, and I live in Arkansas, so forgive me for not knowing. But I see all these posts all the time of people paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for rent. Where the do you work? My lady and I pay $11.50, and we know we're blessed to have that. But $3,000, $4,000, where do you work?
And so that means I have to call you out publicly for being that person that's okay with kids having ribs exposed, because you want to make sure and hold on to that tax credit that billionaires who make over $10 million a year on capital gains don't have to pay any taxes on. By the way, that's true. So if you make money off of investment income, you're taxed at 50% of the rate that you would be taxed if you were making that money off of your labor. And if you make $10 million in 1 year, it's all tax-free. Who does that benefit?
Not me.
3 or 4 people in the world, in Arkansas, does that benefit? It's ridiculous. Because this is not just numbers on a page, and this is not just laws and words in black and white. These are people's lives. People are dying because of these policies. People are imprisoned unnecessarily because of these policies. People are not living their full potential and becoming criminal because of these policies.
From higher grocery bills to rising fuel and utility costs, many in Arkansas say their paychecks are being stretched thinner than ever before since Trump became president. For many families, it's forcing very difficult decisions about what they can afford each month just to make ends meet.
I try to stay calm, but after Governor Sanders' State of the State address Wednesday, I have to be honest. I'm angry. Not just for me, but for every working family in this valley who deserved better than what they heard. She opened with a feel-good story about hungry kids at a baseball practice. A coach's wife started bringing food. The team started winning. That story happened about 25 years ago, and the family telling it throws fundraisers for her campaign. This is the story wealthy people tell themselves to feel better about poverty and the part they play in it. That's not a policy. That's a fairy tale. Because Arkansas is the #1 hungriest state in the nation. The USDA said so in December. And this week, she made SNAP work requirements mandatory in counties with no jobs. So let me ask you, does that sound like someone thinking about your family? She announced a tax cut. Sounds great. Here's how it works. She's returning $180 million to 1.74 million Arkansas taxpayers. That math works out to about $103 per person this year. That fills your truck with gas, almost. And that's total for the year. But here's the thing about tax cuts. The more you make, the more you save. Someone earning $1 million or $2 million saves roughly $2,000 from the same cut. Same percentage, very different result. When she says tax relief, who's she actually talking about? She celebrated the LEARNS Act. 3 years, $300 million in vouchers. And a state-mandated report found that 88% of those kids who received vouchers were already in private school before the vouchers existed. And reading proficiency, it moved from 35% to 35.7%, a little over half a percentage point. 3 of 4 education indicators actually went down. Does that sound like the success story she described? She talked about protecting life. On April 28th, 18 days from now, Baptist Health Fort Smith closes its labor and delivery unit. Pregnant women in this valley will drive further, wait longer, and risk more. Arkansas has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the nation. And we're the only state in America that doesn't cover new mothers on Medicaid for a full year after birth. A bill to fix that passed the House last year, but it died in the Senate committee. She didn't mention any of that on Wednesday. If that's protecting life, whose life are we talking about? She said Arkansas is the cheapest state to live. The same study ranks us 44th in best places to live. Her own words, and I'm quoting her directly, for many, affordability is still a struggle. Well, here's why. Arkansas has the second lowest median household income in the entire country. The average Arkansas family earns nearly 24% less than the national average. You cannot fix affordability with a $103 tax cut. When wages are that far behind the rest of the nation, the only real path to affordability is raising wages. She didn't mention that once. Oh, and if you were planning on retiring on your police officer, teacher, or public employee retirement plan, I have some more bad news for you. Your state government decided they knew more than all the credit reporting agencies in the world and invested roughly $50 million from each retirement fund, totaling $155 million in Israeli bonds, despite warnings of their negative outlook. So I guess, if you're Israel and your ambassador is the dad of the governor of Arkansas, you can get the money you need. She also said, and again I'm quoting her here directly, think of every child who would go hungry without our work. Well, I'm thinking about them. Every single one of them. And it seems like the only thing our governor is working for is keeping Arkansas down.
Arkansas is still largely rural, right? Like I saw something the other day, I think Arkansas has like 48% farmland. It was a map of farmland distribution across the United States.
Oh, you see that. You fly over it and you'll see it.
And so like there's a lot of rural America. So like you go through, Jonesboro, where we're sitting right now, 75,000 people, almost 80,000. It's a large, populace, but not far from here, you get into like a couple hundred people, and there are cities in Arkansas that have got like 80, and but that's where it's just encompassed by farmland, and so all those grocery stores that sell any type of snacks, Gatorade, whatever it might be that farmers and their local people are coming in there and buying. That's who's going to start suffering. So like there might be a local deli or grill that is fixing hamburgers and like yes, we have duck hunting in the state, and that is big for the state. That also supports our rural economies, but farming is here year round, where out of state duck hunters are here for 60 days.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it's not just the farmers. I mean, it's Arkansas as a whole, because it's the ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
Or the butterfly.
Well, part of that ripple effect would also be, I would imagine, banks that have on their balance sheets, they're the ones that have given the farmers the loans. And so if nothing happens, and you've got a bank that has too much ag loan, I mean, aren't there banks that are specifically
ag loan?
Sure, yeah,
absolutely.
So that's another.
And there are banks in rural America that is their predominant business. If they're doing,
if they don't have farmers, if they don't have farmers, they're out of business.
They're literally out of business.
Tyler Roxner with the Farm Bureau says it's a widespread issue, especially for row crop farmers who focus on staples like rice and even soybeans. He says they're feeling the squeeze the most right now.
Because of all of this that's happening, on estimate, how much money are farmers losing?
I think it was somewhere around it was a little bit over $200 an acre.
Roxton tells me these challenges won't always hit your wallet right away. Larger corporations often absorb the initial blow of higher production costs, but that doesn't mean the impact won't trickle down into other areas. Restaurants like the Root Cafe rely on local produce and smaller farms for their supply.
I tell you what, racism is getting more expensive by the day. Every crop in Arkansas is now at least a negative $100 per acre. Soybeans, a negative 100. Cotton, negative 200. Corn, negative 250. There's nothing these people can grow that will turn them a profit. And one farmer had the nerve to stand up during a meeting and say that, his great-grandfather struggled through the Great Depression. His father struggled through the Reagan era. And now he's struggling through the Trump era. And they voted Republican each time. Yes, Republican politics led to the Great Depression, people. Deregulation in the Roaring 20s. Almost like now. And it's insane to watch people with not 2 nickels to rub between their butt cheeks continuously sell out themselves just so they can watch black and brown people be kidnapped by ICE and immigration. Just so they can experience the racism that they love and enjoy. Well, I certainly hope it puts food on the table.
And look, I get it, because times are hard everywhere. But when you plant your crops, raise your cattle, take on the risks of farming, wasn't that a personal business decision? So why is it on me and you to make sure that decision keeps paying out? Because see, when you and I make bad decisions, government doesn't cut us a check to make it right for us. Now let's connect the dots here a little bit. These are the same people voting for the same politicians who say government is the problem. Yet as soon as the tractors stop running and their profits dry up, government magically turns into a solution for them. Ain't that funny and ironic? The question is, do we owe farmers any help? Or do they need to practice what they preach? Figure it out. Tighten that belt. Leave taxpayers out of it.
Arkansas overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump, but now his tariffs are crushing its farmers. Watch.
And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up. So after a horrible year last year, where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Now, under Trump, farmers face over $1 billion in projected losses this season. Up to a third could go under because Trump's big, beautiful bill won't release farm aid until late next year, and that's way too late. But when Joe Biden was president, farmers had relief programs while the disasters were happening. There was no, hey, you're going to have to wait until late next year. And when Kamala Harris ran, she proposed giving small farmers more access to credit, to crop insurance, while cracking down on big agriculture, and even pushing the right to repair law so that farmers could fix their own equipment. And look, I'm not under the illusion that one day Arkansas is suddenly going to vote blue. What I am saying is that the idea that Joe Biden or Kamala Harris didn't reach out to the working class or farmers is bullshit, because by any metric, Biden and Harris delivered more for farmers than Donald Trump did. Donald Trump ran on tariffs, and these farmers knew the consequences and still voted for him. And now, because of their steadfast commitment to allowing Donald Trump to help tank their business, they're now going to have to be bailed out with our blue state federal tax dollars.
The budget submitted by the governor doesn't do anything new to help working families in Arkansas. There's no increases for early childhood education, for pre-K, for rural hospitals, for health care for Arkansans. In fact, most of Arkansas state government is funded at the exact same level it was funded at last year. The exception is the governor's priority project, which is Arkansas Freedom of Education accounts, or school vouchers, that are used for homeschool and private school students. They are going to be funded, if the legislature approves the budget, at $379 million just for this year. This is what is essentially a brand new government program created a couple years ago that gives Arkansas taxpayer funds to private school students and to homeschool students. This isn't money that could have been used for public schools, could have been used and still could be used for daycare, for early childhood education. Instead, it's benefiting a very small percentage of folks in the state who go to private schools or who are homeschooled. That is my summary, the long and short of the governor's budget proposal. We'll see if the legislature does anything to rein in that spending on vouchers and put a cap on what is essentially a blank check program right now.
For Trump voters and others living through this cost of living nightmare, these economic pressures are raising deeper questions about stability, opportunity, leadership, and the future. These voices remind us that economic hardship is more than statistics. It's deeply personal. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what people are facing, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help more people hear these stories. And click the video on your screen to see what's happening in other states across America.
America's economy is becoming a political problem for Trump. Gas prices are rising and families are feeling squeezed. New polls suggest Americans are increasingly blaming President Trump for the economy. This creates serious problems for Republicans ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Economic frustration is spreading to young and independent voters. Many are disappointed over housing affordability and high living costs. Republicans argue global instability is the cause, but perception is what matters in politics. Suburban districts could become major battlegrounds if these trends continue. The economy often decides everything. This will be the ultimate test for Trump's presidency. Follow the podcast for more updates.
The gas prices went up at some gas stations 40 cents overnight, some even more. Insanity. I was at Walmart, I saw it $3.77, and even then I was like, damn, that's cheap. I hadn't even woke up the next morning yet. The next morning, $4.29. These gas prices is crazy. I'm gonna go put on my other lash again.
Ameren, Missouri. Yes, the only electric company that we get to choose to have. There's no other options, remind you. I can't shop around. I can't change it. I just have to bend over and pay it. Isn't that crazy? I've lived in my house for 7.5 years. My electric bill in the summer has never been past $325. And why the F this month I look at my electric bill and girl, it's $547 from the spike rates. $547, that's right. That's right. It's double almost of what it normally runs. Double. Because of this new bill our governor decided to pass. Yeah, double.
Outrage is growing across Missouri as many Trump voters say their utility and other bills have skyrocketed, some claiming costs have now tripled. As families struggle to keep up with rising energy expenses, serious questions are being raised about affordability and survival. Watch until the end and hear these powerful stories from Missourians facing a deepening financial crisis.
Hi, I live in Missouri, and I just paid my bill of $300 for my electric bill on July 13th, okay? And I just got another bill saying that I owe $447 by August 5th. I had paid $350 on July 9th. I'm outraged. It's like, I don't believe this is even possible. That's not even a month. It's almost superseding my rent. I don't understand how this is legal. I only live in one room in my whole house. I only go in my one room, and I keep my air conditioner on 70, but I block off all the vents and I hang sheets in the doorways so it won't go down my stairwell. Okay, and I don't know what we're going to do about this. In Missouri, my Ameren bill is just, it's so outrageous. Look at this here. It's $665. And this is in June. $665 in June. I'm like, I can't understand how it's costing this much when I'm barely home and barely using it. It's outrageous. I don't know what to do. It's like I want to call the police or get a lawyer, you know? It's highway robbery. I don't understand. I'm a single waitress that doesn't make any money. How am I supposed to pay my rent and every single cent I make goes towards bills, and I'm always in a deficit by like $300 every month, and the bill keeps racking up, and I keep putting a little bit here just to keep them quiet, like just pay like just enough to make them not shut shit off, but I can't get out. I can't get out of it.
I don't know how people are going to survive. In 2025, I had 2 different cars, and I spent to fill up my tank between $31 and $41. One was a Ford Fusion, and I am now in a Kia Sorento. It was $55.61 to fill my tank up today. Oh God, help us this year.
The last at least 2 months, it's been really rough.
Pam White runs the Malden Nutrition Center in Dunklin County, and she says the center delivers meals to dozens of seniors in Malden and Clarkton.
I was only having to fill up once a month, and it was getting me through everything, and now I'm going to the station at least twice a month.
But with gas prices up more than 40% since the start of the Iran conflict, White says the center has reduced deliveries to Malden to once a week, and seniors in Clarkton only get the meals twice a month.
It's really put a hurt on us, trying to deliver those meals daily. We just can't do that anymore.
She says many of the seniors rely on the service.
Well, some of them don't even have food in their house. I've had them call and tell me that they're hungry and they don't have the food.
Without the meal deliveries, White says the seniors lose more than food.
These people, if they don't get this meal, they don't have a wellness check. It's absolutely a needed program in this area.
If you woke up needing gas this morning, you were unlucky, just like me. The price of gas skyrocketed 10 cents overnight, 20 cents up from last week. I'm here in Missouri right now. Gas is $3.79 a gallon.
I've been driving for about 10 years already, and I have never seen gas get this hot. We have $4.29.
Grocery prices are way down. Used car prices are way down. Look at eggs. Eggs are down by 4, even 5 times. Remember when I took over, eggs were so high?
I just left Walmart. I decided that I was going to grocery shop. I don't know, the budget doesn't count. I didn't even buy that much stuff. I did have to get 2 presents for my son for his birthday, very small presents. And we were out of all meat and all vegetables, and I basically haven't been grocery shopping in a couple weeks, real grocery shopping. I spent almost $600. I thought I was going to die when I saw the total.
Man, look at these prices, boy. Trump got these damn tariffs on his meat, boy. Look how much, look at that. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that shit. 7 them tariffs ain't real, man. Them tariffs is real, man. Trump bullshit, bro. Look at this. $82 just for that.
When I make a video about people living on minimum wage, trying to pay their bills and trying to pay for food and other necessities, like healthcare, medicine, housing, car payments, insurance, those other little things, utility bills, kids' lunches. It's always a man that comes in my comments every damn time. And he tells me how much he's spending at the grocery store. And tonight the big comment was prime rib, $8.99. Not unless they've started selling canner beef to the public.
So I live in northeastern Missouri, and it's about $3.99, $4 for just regular unleaded.
I just spent $400 at Walmart on a big grocery order and some cleaning supplies. I don't feel like it's $400 worth of stuff, though. Here is what we got for $400. I also wanted to add that this isn't even a full grocery haul. I buy all of my meat in bulk, or I grow it myself. I get milk from a neighbor who has a dairy cow. I grow and can most of my own produce. I don't understand it.
If you live in Missouri, your electric bill could go up in the coming years, and that's not because of your AC or your heat. The state is seeing a massive boom in data centers. There are nearly 60 right now, including a huge campus for Meta in Kansas City. These places use an insane amount of energy. The largest ones proposed in the country could use nuclear reactor levels of power. Critics say you might get stuck paying for the grid upgrades needed to support them. There's even a state law that allows utilities to charge residents in advance for new power plants. Ameren says don't worry, their contracts force big tech to pay their own way, but consumer groups aren't convinced.
I'm a Missourian. I grew up hearing about how we're the backbone of this country. And for years since I moved back, I've listened to Congressman Jason Smith tell us that he's one of us. He calls himself a fourth generation farm owner. He posts the photos in the fields. He's always thinking and talking about how he's our unwavering friend in DC. But on April 30th, 2026, when it actually mattered, when the 2026 Farm Bill finally came up for a vote, where was he? He wasn't there. According to Roll Call 154, you've got not voting next to Jason Smith's name. I'm tired of all of us in rural America being used as a backdrop for a campaign photo. I'm tired of being told someone understands our needs while they're busy skipping the votes that define our future. If you're a, quote, champion for rural America, you show the hell up. You don't hide behind a not voting status because the bill wasn't exactly what you wanted. You fight for what you can get and you let your people know where you stand.
Literally haven't been out all day. Just saw the gas went up 20 cents. It's now $4.19 here in my small town in Missouri. And I am about to start an OnlyFans. Based off my feet, though. I don't care what my husband says. I gotta pay the bills somehow. And we both can't be working outside the house because we ain't gonna be able to afford that gas on his Tahoe. My car is great for him to be driving around, but damn.
Did you know that Missouri passed a bill allowing power companies to charge for a plant before it's even built? Now, they're rolling out the welcome mat to these massive data centers. Those companies should be paying their own way, but they're not. But the grid updates, the power line update, new power plants to handle the new load, that's going to land on your bill. And it doesn't matter who your provider is.
As more Missouri residents speak out, the financial strain is becoming impossible to ignore. Families are being forced to make difficult decisions as heating, cooling, and basic living costs continue to climb. Stay with us until the very end as these real stories reveal the harsh reality behind Missouri's growing utility and overall cost of living crisis.
Missouri just proudly passed a bill that would eliminate income tax. I'd like to break this down for those of you in the back. A consumption tax hurts poor people far more than it hurts millionaires. You have 2 eggs for breakfast. A millionaire has 2 eggs for breakfast. You both pay 20% tax. Who just got hurt the worst? You're going to pay tax on having your house painted. You're going to pay taxes on having your kitchen cabinets installed. You're going to pay tax on having your lawn mowed. Who is being hurt the most by that tax? It's going to be poor people, not the millionaire. He already can afford his tax. So those of you out there celebrating Southwest Missouri, it's because you're too simple to understand the concept of a consumption tax. You have less. He will pay less taxes, percentage of his income, than you will. And I used to buy a new car every year. It was one of the biggest joys of my life. And 20% for a new car? I'll drive mine till the wheels fall off. Congratulations, Missouri.
All right, some education news for you right now. Missouri lawmakers have approved a nearly $49 billion state budget, and part of your taxpayer dollars will continue going towards those public schools across the state. Now, remember, this money helps pay for things like teachers, transportation, classroom programs, and those day-to-day operations. But one of the biggest debates came over how much schools should actually receive next year. Missouri's funding formula called for about $190 million more for K-12 education. Instead, lawmakers voted to keep funding at the same level as this year. Now, Republicans say education spending has already increased by nearly $1 billion since 2020, while you have Democrats arguing schools are still being underfunded under the state's own formula.
I just went into Roads 101 stop here in Cape Girardeau, and have they always been this expensive? I knew their gas was always just, a little bit more expensive. I get that. But bro, I went in to get a meat stick. One meat stick, not a package meat stick. It was $5. $5 for a meat stick. I'm like, hell's bells, I may as well go to a full-fledged restaurant at this point and get I don't know, not Kenny's Flippin' Burgers, but a full-fledged restaurant. And I guess they changed all the food to street eats. They're now doing street eats. Who helped come up with this concept? Who rolled this out? Look, if you're going to do street tacos, you need a corn tortilla shell. And if only someone was there at the pitch meeting that was like, we need to have corn tortilla shells, then, it might have got corn tortilla shells. I don't know. That's a little bit of a rabbit hole, I guess, but holy goodness. I'm just waiting for my gas to fill up. It's almost there. Oof. I only filled up halfway because, prices and all.
Tariffs trigger the liquidation of a 116-year-old steel manufacturer in St. Louis, Missouri. Yes, Missouri voted Republican in 2020. A 116-year-old manufacturer. Another one bites the dust.
I want to take 1 minute to debunk a myth about the Republican plan to raise sales taxes. As expected, the Missourians I've spoken to are very skeptical, if not angry, at the plan to tax everything in order to eliminate the income tax. But to hide the obvious fact that it shifts taxes from the rich to the middle class and poor, I've seen a few Republicans claim that eliminating the income tax will mean more people want to work. As an economist, I kind of get it. The idea that what we tax we discourage. So I tested the theory. Economists measure how much people want to work by looking at the labor force participation rate. That is, what percentage of working age adults either have a job or are looking for one. Turns out, while Missouri has an income tax and Texas, Tennessee, and Florida do not, Missouri has the highest labor force participation rate of any of those 4 states. So the next time someone tells you that moving from an income tax to an everything tax will get more Missourians into the labor force, you'll know that myth is busted.
When Missouri cuts income taxes, the only option is to tax the people who are already here harder on everything that they buy. So Missouri is not Florida, right? Supporters of this bill keep pointing to Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. We don't have tourism money like Florida does. Florida is one of the most visited states on earth, in case you didn't know this. Disney World alone generates more economic activity than entire Missouri industries. Tourists pay Florida sales taxes. Missouri tourists do not subsidize Missouri's state budget at anywhere near that scale, obviously. What do we have, Branson? Weather has an economic advantage. Florida gets over 100 million visitors per year. People move there. Do we even need to say this out loud? Are you stupid? Yes, the weather in Florida is nice. Florida's property taxes are significantly higher than Missouri's. Homeowners pay more to fund local services. Missouri doesn't have that cushion. And we're also talking about getting rid of property taxes. Listen, I hate taxes as much as the next person, but just slashing something for the sake of wanting to fucking slash it and not have a solution of what you actually need to slash in the government to bring down the budget, I don't know.
I am extraordinarily frustrated. So every year, HUD, Housing and Urban Development, which is the leading federal organization in the country around homelessness, statistics, funding, all of it. Every year they come up with a ranking of the best and worst cities in America at sheltering the chronically homeless. And once again, Kansas City is ranked dead last on that list. And this is 2 years in a row. So not only are we not making any kind of improvement, we are moving in the wrong direction because by percentage, we are worse this year than we were last year. And let me put that in perspective a bit, to be ranked dead last. And we're ranked dead last among every major city in this country. So, if Kansas City and LA or New York were the same size, Kansas City would have more chronically homeless people here than in those places. I hope that helps paint a picture of how bad it is in Kansas City right now.
It's May 5th, 2026, and gas is $4.49 a gallon in St. Louis. On January 19th, 2025, gas in St. Louis just $2.94 a gallon. I drive a Honda, so I got a 14-gallon tank. To fill it up, it was $41.16. Today, because of this administration's war, and the gas prices being $4.49 in St. Louis, to fill it up is $62.82. It's a difference of $21, almost $22. If the price stays up for a year, that's going to be like $1,200 more just in gas, because I fill up about once a week. I know a lot of people fill up 2 or 3 times a week. What are they going to do? I don't give a shit what the fucking stock prices are doing. This is going to crash the economy.
There's an old story about a Missouri Democrat who walked around with his light bill in his pocket because Republican policies had driven up the price of electricity in the state and in his neighborhood in general. He won his race, and he talked about his light bill nonstop. Now look at this. Power prices are expected to soar under new tax cut and spending law. Some of the sharpest increases could be felt in Republican-led states. My water bill in my tiny little town went up 100%. No exaggeration, just a few months ago. And now town council meetings are full because this was felt in the pocketbook of everyone in my community. This is what they mean when they talk about kitchen table issues. And here's a kitchen table issue. I went to look at the price of ground beef at my local Walmart, and it's almost $9 a pound. Even the cheap stuff is almost $7 a pound. Folks can't afford to live right now.
$4.19 a freaking gallon. I don't know where it is where you live, but that's what it is where I live. And I'll tell you right now, I feel like they're pushing to get us all in electric cars. What the hell? People are working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Dump truck drivers, they fuel where I work. $1,000. And you know that fuel's not lasting them a full week. Come on now. Ridiculous. Absolutely insanity is what it is. Here we are, paying $4.19 a gallon for how long? For how freaking long? Like, come on. somebody make it make sense, because holy bananas.
Kansas Cityans love all things barbecue, but here's the thing. Your plate could be getting pricier. In Overland Park, Hart Barbecue cut daily brisket and burnt end sales to just selling on the weekends in order to focus on pushing other meat products. But why is beef so pricey? A local rancher can explain it a lot better than I can.
We're at an all-time low of the cattle in the United States. And then especially in Johnson County, land costs are extremely high. It takes 16 months to raise a steer from birth until they're ready to butcher. So that's a long time. And so if you don't have that inventory of animals, then you don't have the inventory of beef for the final product.
The average price for a gallon of gas in Missouri is above $4 for the first time since 2022.
So I kid you not, every gas station that I drove by in Kansas, Missouri, the price was $4.29, and I'm like, surely not. And I finally get to a gas station, and yeah, the price is still $4.29. It's beautiful. Thank you, whoever's doing this.
I think I budget like $200 to $300 a month just for gas.
People are looking for ways to save at the pump, whether it's paying with cash or loyalty rewards programs, as gas on average in the Kansas City metro is up by at least 30 cents a gallon week to week. $4.29 a gallon. And Kansas City drivers tell me that they're feeling it everywhere tonight.
It's taking food out the mouth. I mean, the grass still grows. So they're even mowing the lawn in North Korea. You know what I mean? So
I am paying almost $45 to fill this up at 3/4 of the tank because I can't allow my gas to get that low anymore.
There's some experts that are warning gas could near $5 at the end of this month.
As we've seen, these rising utility costs are impacting more than monthly budgets. They're reshaping the daily lives of hardworking families across Missouri. The stories shared today highlight growing concerns about affordability, economic pressure, and how rapidly increasing expenses are affecting communities throughout America.
Okay, welcome. From the videos you can see the Trump supporters and voters are now sick and tired of him. Like, for now, they don't want to associate with anything that deals with Trump. Like, this man, he has disappointed them a lot. The things that he promised to do for them, now he's doing it for himself. He doesn't care about the country. He doesn't care about his supporters. He doesn't care about that he's the president and he's supposed to take care of the country. Instead, he's doing everything possible to ruin the country, to humiliate the country, to destroy the country. Now the voters and the supporters are now tired of him. Like, these people that are there complaining, they have lost their job, that at the end of the day, he'll lose it. And I think you can see that these people are complaining about their living life, like everything it has raised, everything like the gas, everything that they used to buy in a low cost, now they're buying double.
A brand new exclusive CNN poll is sounding alarm bells for Donald Trump and his party when it comes to issue number one, the economy.
We will make America affordable again.
Donald Trump is at a record low approval rating now. 30% of respondents in our poll approve of how Donald Trump is handling the economy. He's never been lower on that score. And what we're starting to see is that Donald Trump is starting to take on some water even among his own fellow Republicans. His overall approval rating among Republicans is at a record low across both terms. It now is at 79% approval. And on the economy, Republican approval is even lower at just 70%. Donald Trump, on two critical issues, inflation and gas prices, is really suffering. Just a quarter of Americans, roughly, approve of what he's doing on inflation and on gas prices. And in fact, on gas prices, a majority of Republicans disapprove of how Donald Trump is handling that issue. All of this is putting real downward political pressure on the president and his party in advance of this year's midterm. One potential bright spot for Republicans in this poll: Democrats don't fare all that well either. This economic, anxious nation, it's upset with both parties, and in the generic congressional ballot, Democrats only have a 3-point edge. Given all that bad news for the president and his party, Democrats are not yet putting this election away.
We are hearing from more and more Trump voters that are sick of Trump. They realize he screwed them. He lied to them about what he was going to do. He is ruining their economic circumstances. He is humiliating the United States on the world stage. And this is going to come back to crush them, I believe, in the November midterm elections. Here is a Trump voter who was out to vote yesterday in the primaries for these midterms and said, you know what? I'm a Trump voter, but Trump's getting carried away. The war in Iran is what he cares about, and we're all paying more for everything. Trump doesn't care about me. To which I say, of course, that's right, sir. And we knew that a decade ago.
I voted for Trump, too. I'm not saying I disagree with him, but I think it's getting a little bit carried away. He's more concerned about the war over there and killing everybody over here with increased prices, and he just doesn't seem to care.
Well, he doesn't care. And sometimes it can take a decade to figure something out. The one prism through which Trump sees everything is, what do I get out of it? And you'll remember that his political movement is built around a group of people he spent most of his life trying to be kept away from. Trump, as a rich guy from Queens and Manhattan, spent the vast majority of his life isolated from the very people that ultimately became his political base. But all of a sudden, when they had something to offer him, his behavior changes. Now he wants to convince them to donate to him. This is early in his political career. Then he needs them to vote for him. And there was this moment right after the 2020 election where the voting part didn't matter anymore because the election was over, but he needed their money, supposedly, to fight Joe Biden stealing the election. And then you looked in the fine print and you saw a bunch of the money that was being donated was going to go to pay off Trump's campaign debts rather than to fight and overturn the results. And Trump doesn't give a damn about his supporters because he was bilking people who really couldn't afford it out of their money, some of it hard-earned, presumably, with no real intention of delivering, overturning the election to them. And then now all of a sudden he needed them again to vote in 2024. Trump doesn't care about them. I will keep us out of endless wars that are bad for the economy. But then all of a sudden he wants this, even though it makes no sense whatsoever. And some voters, listen, it took 11 years for some of these people, but they are realizing he doesn't care about us. He never did. He never did. Here's another voter saying, we don't have a world anymore where we care about.
These people, they have started missing Obama because of so many things. Like, Obama ruled that country for years and it wasn't such kind of complaints and crisis. The country, it was respected. The country, it was the country of high level. Like, everyone was proud of USA. Like, not like now everyone is humiliating the country. Everyone is like, the country, it has lost its value. It has vanished. Like, everything is that they had, they have lost much in the name of war, in the name of called Trump. Like, according to the history, like, the time that Obama was the president, you can't find such kind of things that you are seeing now. Like,